Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Dewan, and I'm back with another Cisco Packet Tracer tutorial. It's 2017. How those resolutions coming? Mine's going pretty good, thank you. Alright, in this tutorial, we're going to set up a small campus network connecting to a web server, which I've already configured. In this network, we'll have a web server, a router, a switch, and a PC. And at the end of configuring all those devices, we'll go to the PC and pull up the web page that I've already created on the web server. All right, now you may say, hey, your background looks a little different than mine, Dewan. So what I did is I placed all the configs that we're using for this tutorial, well, the interfaces for the configs on the devices that we're using for this tutorial, right here in this nifty little background. And I did that so you can follow along. Hopefully you are following along, and hopefully I can provide you with some useful information. If you guys are ready, let's slap on our Cisco Packet Tracer thinking caps and let's get down to some Packet Tracer. Okay, so down here you have your network devices. These network devices consist of your routers, which we'll use on 1941 because that's what I like to use, and we'll rename it R1. And then you have your switches, which is a 2960 because we only need a layer 2 switch. 3560 is layer 3. And then you have your layer 2 2950s. We'll rename this SW1. And then we'll go over here. I'll show you the hubs that Packet Tracer 7 has, the wireless devices, the security firewalls, the WANs, for like your frame relay connecting different networks. You have your end devices. We'll use a PC, but you also have laptops, servers, VoIP phones, all that good stuff. Your home network for your IoT devices. Smart city, industrial, power grid. We'll rename the PC. We'll do it from here. And we'll name this PCA. And since we're here now, let's go ahead and do the configurations for this thing. So the configurations for the gateway for PCA is going to be right here. So we'll do, 192.168.0.1, and then the DNS server, which I already have configured, will be 192.168.1.7. And then we'll go here. The IP address of this is going to be 192.168.0.3, and then the /24. Let's verify that. You always want to verify when you enter your configs in this stuff. Now, like I said, I have the web server configured, so HTTP is turned on. DNS, I can figure DNS is domain name system server. So if you ever test it, if anybody ever asks you what DNS stands for, it does not stand for domain name server. A lot of people say that, but it doesn't. So I created an A record, not a host record. It's actually an A record. An A record for www.gobucks.local, and it has the IP address of 192.168.1.7, which is actually this device. So that's the device of this web server, and I actually created an A record for that, because when you go to Google and type in, let's say google.com, that actually is a name that resolves to an IP address, and the DNS is what does that. So computers actually just talking ones and zeros. They're simple. We're complicated. All right, we got that configured. Enough of that. Let's go down here to components. We don't need anything here. I just wanted to show you some of the things in this new Packet Tracer. But we'll go over here to connections. Now, if you click this here, it will automatically connect your devices. But we're not going to do that because we're cooler than that. We don't want to automatically. We want to manually do it. So you have your console cable if you wanted to console into a switch or a router, and you have your straight through, which is 568B is the standard for networking. We'll do that NIC to FA01. Another one with gigabit 01 to gigabit 01. I like to keep those kind of in sync, so it looks a lot cleaner to me. And then we also need a crossover cable. And a crossover cable is 568 on one, 568B on one end and 568A on the other end. And the reason why, in a standard straight through cable, pins 1 and 2 is transmit, and pins 3 and 6 are actually receive. Now, the problem with that is if you take like devices, like a PC and a PC, they're both talking on 1 and 2 pins, so that there's no communication being communicated. Everybody's talking, nobody's listening. So what you need to do is take one end of that cable and make it 568A, flip your pins 1 and 3 and your pins 2 and 6, which is your orange and your greens. Your orange flips with your greens, all that good stuff. So enough of that. I'll put a link in the description to more information about straight through and crossover cables, when to use them, when not to use them. All right, so we have PCA configured. Next thing we need to do is go in here to SW1 and configure that. Enable show version. All right, the version this is running is 12.2, and it's a 2960 24 port. It's LAN based, so it's a switch. That's all it does. Let's do a show VLAN. The default VLAN is VLAN 1. There's no other VLANs on this, so this is good to go. Let's do a show run. No configs there. As you can see, the host name is standard. Good to go. All right, now we have that. Let's just do a show IP interface. Show IP interface brief. That's the full command to show all the ports that they're up, down, assign an IP address, and all that good stuff. And it even shows your layer 3 VLAN switch. A layer 2 switch is still a layer 2 switch, but it does have a management IP address which you use for your VLAN, interface VLAN. But I'll explain that more here shortly. All right, we verified all that. Nothing's configured. The only port up is FA01, which is up because it's connected to PC-A. All right, the first thing I like to do is do this no IP domain lookup. That stops the switch from querying to find out, okay, what is this name that you're looking for? Like, say we use R4 and there's no R4. Well, it's trying to resolve that name, but there's nothing to resolve it to. There's no DNS server configured or anything. So it's just going to keep searching until it times out. And sometimes that takes forever and hangs up. So we don't want that. And we'll name this host name SW1. We'll give it an enable. Now, some people say that the enable secret actually encrypts, but it actually just adds another layer of protection over the enable password. So we'll just do the enable secret. Now, when you turn on this service password encryption, that actually encrypts all your plain text passwords on the router or switch. So we did that. Let's do a banner of the day. And let's do not enter, because we don't want you entering here if you do not have access or you're not authorized. All right, so do not enter. Let's also do line con 0. Let's do a password of Cisco login synchronous. Now this is when let's say you're consoled into a physical switch at your job, and you're typing along, you got this long config, and you get a debug message, or you get interface went down, and it interrupts your message, and you can't find out where the heck you were in your script. Well, login synchronous fixes that. It takes you right back to where you were on the next line or whatever. So this make sure you enter this, and then we'll do a login. So that enforces you to log in your console. VTY, which now we're going to configure your VTY lines. This is what you use to telnet or SSH into a device. which SSH is going to be more secure than Telnet, or secure, or whatever, you know what I mean. Now we log in, that forces that to go in. Now from here, what I want to do is I want to save the config and verify that our banner is working and that the LineCon password is working. So I could either exit from here and exit again, or I can just hit Control Z and that takes me all the way back to privileged exec mode. And then from here, I can do a copy, run, start. And that copies your running config to the startup config. So meaning if we were to reload this switch now, that running config will load up as the startup config. And then we'll exit. And as you can see, the banner came up, do not enter. And then we'll log in. We verify that, and then it prompts us to log in. So we'll go here, enter our password, if I can type. And then we'll do the enable password, which is Cisco. All right, we're in. Everything's good to go. Almost. There's a couple more things we need to do. Now, one of the things I want to show you is that all of your interfaces are in VLAN 1. Now, in the real world, you should not use VLAN 1 at all. And you definitely shouldn't have unused ports in an active VLAN. Shouldn't happen. So what we'll do here is we need to configure a default gateway on this router, on this switch, because let me turn on my numlock. The default gateway is if you're in another VLAN and you telnet into your switch and you're unable to, and let's say you're in another VLAN and you telnet into your switch. Well, your switches are gonna know how to get back to you if it doesn't have a default gateway to send that traffic to. So that's what that's for. And now we also have to set up the actual IP address of the switch. So IP address is going to be 2.0.2/24. And then whenever you configure a layer 3 VLAN on a switch, you have to bring it up. Boom. You have to bring it up, and there has to be a port in that VLAN on the switch. So that's good to go. Active port, I should say. So since PCA is talking on VLAN 1, I could bring it up with no problem. So what we could do here is ping PC1 and see what's going on. Will it talk? We got action. We good to go. Now, remember I mentioned all the ports being in VLAN 1? We don't want that. So let's go back in here and create another VLAN. So we'll do VLAN 1000. And we'll name this, let's name it Black Hole. I like Black Hole. What do you think? I'm a space guy. Space is cool. I don't know. I like to go there one day. So let's go interface VLAN. No, we don't want to do that. Let's exit out of here. And let's go interface range. So we're taking a range of ports, FA02 through 24. That means all the ports we're not using that are fast Ethernet. And we're going to put them in switch port access VLAN 1000. And then we're going to shut them down administratively. So that means no matter what, no one can access anything on our VLAN 1, which is our internal network. Well, they're good to go. All right, and then we also need to shut down Gigabit O2 since we're not using that. And we'll just go up until we get there, and then we'll shut. Now, we have everything done. So if we do a show VLAN, you can see the only thing in VLAN 1 is FA01 and Gigabit 01. The rest are in this Black Hole VLAN 1000. Yep, good to go. And then if we do a show IP interface brief, you'll see all these are shut down except for FA01 and Gigabit 01. I want to show you guys something else. Now this what made me fall in love with Packet Tracer 7 so far. I'm not saying I'm completely there yet, but this is pretty cool. So if you do a show IP interface brief, pipe, exclude, down. Now you guys that are working on your CCNA, I don't believe this is in there, but you guys that are CCNP, you know what I'm talking about. When you do a command, you can pipe information. So if you know anything about let's say PowerShell, and you know about piping, you kind of can do the same thing in the CLI. So what this is saying is show IP interface brief, which is show me all the ports in their configurations, but pipe the excluded down ones. So I don't want the down ports. And what it returns, all the up ports. And one of the things you can also do if you're dealing with a router, you can do assigned or unassigned, which is useful when you're just looking for ports that are assigned to IP address. Okay, so that's good to go. Let's do a copy run start. Hopefully that was some information that you didn't know and it was useful. All right, so we're good to go. Now, you may say, hey, you didn't do a trunk on Gigabit 01. Well, oops, show IP interface or show interface trunk. Let's do that. You may say, hey, you didn't do a trunk from the switch to the router. Yeah, but this is kind of like an entry-level tutorial, and so since we only have one VLAN and we're going to a router, we just have to put we can leave everything on VLAN 1 connected as an access port to the router, and then Gigabit 01 put IP address on it and everything will talk. Now if we had multiple VLANs spanning this switch, then we'll have to do the encapsulation .1Q and all that good stuff, but we don't need to do that. So we're good to go on this switch. Okay, let's get R1 configured so we can wrap up this lab. And all right, so the first thing we want to do is show version. Oh, 15.1. Hey, check this out, guys. So when you're doing testing for your CCNA, 15.1 is one of the latest and greatest releases from Cisco iOS. So this is definitely going to be useful while you guys are studying for your labs or studying for your certification. It's IP based, so it looks like you can also upgrade the license packages on these routers. That's pretty cool. Hey, GNS3, I think you guys might have some competition right now going on through Cisco. So let's go in and do a show run. Let's see what's on here. I promise, I love networking. Like, it's so fun. Nothing's configured. Everything's pretty much good to go. Show IP route. That's good to go. Show IP interface brief. Good to go. All right. Config T. Hostname. Let's change this to R1. No IP domain lookup. That's good to go. Let's see what else we want. Let's do an enable secret. Cisco, good to go. Let's do service password encryption. Can't forget that. Good to go. Let's do a banner message of the day. Do not enter. Boom. Got all that configured. Let's also do this console in Cisco. Login synchronous. All right. Or synchronous, however you want to call it. You know what it is. So VTY 0 through 4, password Cisco, login. Got to keep everything secure. Now, everything's good. What we're going to do now is Control Z, and then exit. Oh, look, the banner message of the day is there. Let's log in, Cisco. Okay, so all that's good to go. Let's do a config T, and let's configure the connection to the local LAN. And so that's going to be Gigabit 01. I like to put a description on there, because if I'm looking at, let's say I do a show run and I'm looking at a port, it keeps everything neat and tight. If someone comes behind me, they'll say, hey, okay, so this right here is connected to this local LAN. Wow, I'm glad that guy put that in there. That's just good courteous. You know, you help people out, because you might not be at that company forever, wherever you're working. And we'll go ahead and set the default gateway's IP address. And then we'll do a no short and bring it up. Now watch this. You see this is orange? That's spanning tree. So if we was to ping this, let's do a dual ping 192.168.0.2. And as you can see, it's not going out. There's no ping going to reply because we're waiting on spanning tree. Now, one of the things you guys can do if you don't want to wait on spanning tree, fast forward time. And you see how it went immediately green. That's pretty cool. So let's try it again. Do ping. Now do commands. If you're in the interface and you want to do something real quick and you don't want to go all the way back to privilege exec, just do a do command. So we do ping and the IP address we want to ping, which is going to be the management IP of switch 1. Boom, successful. Now let's ping PCA. Successful. Good to go. And we didn't even have to get out of the interface configuration mode in order to do that ping. Do commands are pretty good. So hopefully that was some useful information for you guys. Now let's do interface gigabit 00 to the web server. And let's do a description. Connection to web server. Is that a compound word? I don't know, but it is today. All right. IP address 192.168. Now this is going to be the default IP. The default gateway is IP address. All right. Let's do a no shut, bring it up, and that should come up immediately. Good to go. Now let's do a do ping from here. Do ping 192.168.1.7. Bang bang. We got it. We're good to go on that one. So let's exit. Control Z. All right. So let's do a copy run start. We're almost done, guys. Copy run start. That's good to go. Let's do a show IP route. Now, if we look in here, let's kind of spread this out. So we see we have the route for the 0 network, and we have the route for the 1 network. Now we don't need EIGRP or RIP or anything to be configured because, or any static routes or anything like that, because these default gateways or these networks are housed in this router, so it knows how to get everywhere that we want it to go. We actually don't want to configure a static route or anything like that, so we're good. Now, let's try some pinging. Let's see. We saved that. This show IP interface brief. All right, as you can see, that's good to go. Now, let's get out of here. Let's go to PCA. Almost done. PCA, IP config. Okay, the IP address is there. Let's do IP config off. All right, and you see the DNS server is still configured here. Now, let's do a ping. Let's ping the gateway, the default gateway for this device. We got action. Control C. That once you see reply, you know everything's pretty much good. You can do all 4 if you want, but I just go ahead and cancel with Control C so we can get this thing rolling a little faster. And then let's try the other side, the gigabit 00 IP address. Good to go. And now let's try the web server or the DNS server. Boom, good to go. Everything's pinging. Everything's talking. Now, let's go over here to the web browser and type www.gobucks.local. Uh-oh, what you got? What you got? What's going on? Dewan Cisco Packet Tracer Lab. Hey, guys, this was extremely fun. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please feel free to subscribe and share with your friends, and also like this video. And if you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I thank everyone for viewing, and have a blessed, great, wonderful, prosperous 2017. Peace.